When you strip away the noise and the bright lights, it's just the game you loved as a kid.
When Wilson unveiled its latest commercial, jaws dropped across the basketball world. In less than 60 seconds, the brand didn't just advertise a product, it delivered a cinematic declaration of dominance.
I don't think you could have a more perfect, a more perfect promotion campaign for anyone as what Wilson are just doing for Caitlin Clark. It's been legitimately perfect.
Caitlin Clark, widely regarded as the most electrifying name in women's sports today, now shares a distinction that only one other basketball player has ever achieved: a full signature line with Wilson. The first, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. The move was more than symbolic, it was seismic. In an era where marketing stunts often overshadow substance, this launch cut through the noise with pure emotion, visual artistry, and reverence for the game itself.
Caitlin Clark just did something that no athlete has done since Michael Jordan.
From the deep narration to the final frame, every second of the ad felt like a love letter to basketball. Wilson captured something that's been obvious to fans for years. Clark isn't just the face of the WNBA, she's a cultural shift. The rollout wasn't flashy for the sake of being flashy. It was poetry, precision, and passion rolled into one. And as the clip racked up views in real time, one question echoed louder than any applause: how did Wilson beat Nike to this moment? The brand that built legends like Jordan and LeBron had gone quiet, while Wilson sprinted ahead and made history. Comment, fumbling the bag, if it's clear which brand drop a ball.
Nikki, we need to talk about Caitlin Clark. Let's you and me talk about Caitlin Clark, since you refuse to talk about Caitlin Clark.
While other brands debated and delayed, Wilson went to work, crafting not just a product, but an experience. The Caitlin Clark Signature Collection wasn't slapped together with templates or generic packaging. It was a 4-part masterclass in design, each basketball reflecting a different piece of her identity.
Making her the first athlete since Michael Jordan to get their own signature basketball from Wilson, she also becomes the first WNBA player to get her own signature basketball from Wilson.
Just kick things off by welcoming Caitlin to the Wilson Design Lab set today as we take a look behind the scenes at the product line that we've created. Phase 2 of the Caitlin Clark product line.
Let's get into it.
First came the Aspire Ball, sleek and unassuming at first glance. But under UV light, it revealed glowing affirmations in fever red, messages like "Dream big" and "Keep going." One of them stood out in particular: "You're going to be amazing because you are amazing." That's not a brand slogan. It's what Clark says to Aaliyah Boston before every game.
So we'll go through the Aspire. So this is using a reasonably newer technology of ours, the UV technology. So the pattern that it actually reveals is different positive affirmations for the athletes who are actually taking it outside to play with it.
It's all about the details. Wow, that's awesome.
Next came the Envision Ball, an outdoor basketball adorned with a mesmerizing maze pattern. Upon closer inspection, the maze subtly spelled out "Dream big, repeat, graffiti for the soul, design for the blacktop." Then there was the Oasis Ball, painted in Clark's favorite light blue and etched with a top-down image of a golf course, a nod to her love of the sport off the court. The textures blended fairways and water imagery, connecting her calm demeanor with her competitive fire.
Okay, so we got Oasis.
I will say, this is my favorite from just seeing it at first glance.
The pattern is a bit of an abstract illustration of what water looks like. And then also you're seeing the fairway, the greens, that's also kind of interspersed in the pattern too.
It's amazing. It's hard to pick a favorite ball, but this is going to be up there with that.
Yeah.
But it was the Embrace Ball that crowned the set. A regulation-ready EVO NXT basketball. This wasn't just about aesthetics. Tucked inside the Wilson logo was a decibel meter. Yes, actual crowd noise data from a Fever home game visualized around the air hole. The louder the fans, the stronger the imprint. Every element felt intentional, personal, and emotionally intelligent. This wasn't just product design, it was narrative architecture.
All right, so we're gonna cover this one next. We're running some data during one of your Fever home games. It would kind of track noise and sound whenever you would make a play. How do we take that theme and put it into a design? Well, it was a little bit of a scientific
Nah, this is cool. People need to listen to this. This is a high quality basketball. This is what the real hoopers use in the gym. This one. Can't pick a favorite, they're all amazing.
And Wilson made one thing crystal clear: this collection wasn't just honoring an athlete, it was building her legend. Despite leading the sports world in cultural influence for decades, Nike's absence from Caitlin Clark's signature moment felt deafening. For a brand that once prided itself on identifying generational talent before anyone else, their inaction raised eyebrows and questions. Clark's rise wasn't subtle. She dominated college basketball headlines for years, shattered viewership records, and became the most Googled female athlete in America. Yet even as Wilson launched a tailor-made tribute to her journey, Nike remained oddly still.
Chance of defense by the Clarks fans. 6 on the shot clock. Clark, a deep 3.
Feet on the hardwood, basketball in hand, guiding you, inspiring you, working on the player you dream to be. Because the ball will always bring you back to your favorite place. Calm, focused, and confident. To the place all roads lead, the game of basketball.
There were no commercials, no viral teasers, and more importantly, no signature shoe. This is the same company that handed Michael Jordan his iconic line in year 1. LeBron James too. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, even Zion Williamson, each received signature status early, long before they ever carried a league on their shoulders. But for Clark, who's arguably had more cultural impact in 1 year than most of those names combined, the swoosh brand stayed silent.
There is no better way to promote Caitlin Clark. She doesn't need any promotion of pregame fits. There doesn't need to be any, even a Nike terrible promotion is you can't win, so win, while ignoring her. You don't need to see, there doesn't need to be any of that crap. There doesn't need to be any bells and whistles. All you have to do is promote basketball.
An insider close to Nike eventually leaked the truth. Internal delays, corporate second-guessing, and what one former executive called old school hesitation. The company didn't anticipate her popularity exploding this quickly. That admission hit like a thunderclap. This wasn't just a missed opportunity. It was a failure to understand the moment, because Clark didn't just show up and go viral. She built a movement. While Wilson was embedding affirmations and fan noise into her basketballs, Nike was buried in red tape. The silence didn't feel strategic, it felt like fear. And in a landscape where momentum is everything, Nike wasn't just late to the party. They forgot to RSVP.
Nike seems to be continuing to fumble the bag when it comes to Caitlin. She still doesn't have a signature shoe. The merch is very limited that they put out for Caitlin Clark, and a lot of fans are wondering why.
As whispers turned into widespread speculation, the narrative surrounding Nike's silence grew darker. Many began asking if this was really just a marketing delay or something more calculated. Around the same time, Caitlin Clark's homecoming exhibition game against Brazil sold out in minutes and pulled in over 1.3 million viewers, Nike said nothing. Not a post, not a comment, not even a repost from the official WNBA or Iowa accounts. The silence was so awkward that even Clark's boyfriend reposted a fan tweet calling Nike out publicly. It didn't go unnoticed.
And I don't know if you saw, but her boyfriend on his page reposted this, which I guess it could have been an accident, but I'm going to assume, y'all don't got internet or what? That's because apparently Nike didn't say anything. They were radio silent.
What followed was a wave of confusion that quickly spiraled into frustration. That confusion only deepened when A'ja Wilson's Reebok signature shoe launched days later. Coincidence? Maybe. But given how meticulously brands time product rollouts, it felt more like strategy than happenstance.
Angel Wilson's on top, can't take her spot.
Behind the scenes, former Nike executive Jordan Rodgers hinted that the brand may have been afraid to overshadow A'ja Wilson by promoting Caitlin Clark too aggressively, suggesting the company was walking a political tightrope. Rodgers, who spent 15 years crafting Nike's image, said the brand seemed paralyzed by the divisiveness swirling around Clark's popularity. Rather than capitalize on momentum, Nike appeared to be tiptoeing, waiting for the media climate to shift before fully committing.
Your tagline in that was "You can't win, so win." One of the best explanations I can come up with is that you are wringing your hands and afraid to enter into this politically divisive conversation that has been co-opted by the media and pundits who are race baiting and doing all kinds of ridiculous things around women's basketball. You can't win, so win. You have the unicorn, the chosen one, the one who everyone wants to hear from, and you were just sitting around Gatorade, State Farm, Gainbridge, Wilson Basketball have all figured out how to have a point of view with Caitlin Clark. Please For the love of God, figure something out.
The irony was brutal. The athlete who embodied simplicity, grit, and joy had become too complicated to market. Not because of who she was, but because of how the culture around her was being managed. And in trying to avoid controversy, Nike created one of its own. This wasn't about choosing between A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark. It was about the illusion that supporting one meant sidelining the other, a mindset rarely seen in men's sports, where 10 athletes can have 10 signature shoes without internal conflict. Yet here, Clark's undeniable influence was being slowed by the very industry that built its empire on pushing boundaries.
One word to describe Caitlin Clark.
Amazing.
Yes.
A beast. She is the truth. And I mean, she's the truth, and she was a rookie, right?
Yeah.
Knock down the three-pointer, get to the rim. She can get to the free throw line. She's crafty.
Yeah, very crafty.
Crafty. So sometimes she look like she's coming off for a three-point shot, and she backdoors you for a layup. She gets her teammates involved. She can pass. She can shoot. Man, she is the complete basketball player.
As the debate reached a boiling point, two powerhouse voices stepped in, and their words only intensified the spotlight. First came Cynthia Cooper, a Hall of Famer and certified legend in the women's game. When asked to describe Caitlin Clark in one word, she didn't hesitate. Amazing, a beast, she is the truth. Then she broke it down with surgical precision. Clark's deadly three-point range, her ability to drive, her passing, her unpredictability, and the rare skill of making teammates better. It wasn't praise for clicks. It was the kind of respect that only elite athletes reserve for those they see as truly transcendent. Then came Stephen A. Smith, who pulled no punches.
And then you have a lot of folks that have come to the defense of numerous WNBA players because they were pointing out, like, this has been going on before long and people are not hating on her. It's not about hating on her. It's that you feel she is getting a level of attention that you deserved and you warranted long before she ever came along.
In a viral segment, he peeled back the industry layers, explaining that the hesitance surrounding Clark had less to do with her talent and more to do with resentment. He didn't blame individual players. He blamed a system infected by politics, optics, and old narratives. Smith revealed that some in the WNBA felt overlooked, believing they deserved this level of attention long before Clark arrived. But instead of using Clark's popularity to lift the entire league, a sense of internal gatekeeping emerged. And now, that tension was bleeding into corporate decisions, especially Nike's.
Jordan, Kobe came along, there was resentment. I mean, the list goes on and on. It happens. So to me, there's nothing wrong with the resentment that you may feel towards what she represents. It's actually good because it provokes a level of hostility, which elevates the competitive fervor, and y'all go out there and compete, and everybody gets paid. But unfortunately, you almost feel like you have some folks within the WNBA that wishes that would rather not be in a very fruitful position because of their resentment towards her. And they won't admit it, but I've been talking about it for months.
According to Smith, the jealousy wasn't abnormal. It had happened before with Jordan, with Kobe, with LeBron. What made this different was the league's apparent unwillingness to embrace the momentum. Clark wasn't a viral fluke. She was the real thing. And brands like Wilson saw it immediately. But Nike was hesitating, held back not by strategy, but by second thoughts born from internal politics. What Cooper and Smith both made clear is this: greatness doesn't need a permission slip. It just needs to be recognized. And every day Nike delays, it loses more ground, not just in sales, but in cultural capital.
She could be $1 billion athlete. Like, when I see these numbers, I'm like, oh, this is higher than the tour. This isn't even Jordan. This is totally different.
Economic analysts have already run the numbers, and the figures are staggering. Caitlin Clark isn't just the face of the WNBA. She's its most powerful asset. Projections suggest her presence alone could generate up to $1 billion in league value by the end of 2025. That's not marketing hype. That's a forecast grounded in data. Every time Clark steps onto the court, ticket prices soar, ratings spike, and merchandise flies off shelves. But when she's sidelined, the numbers collapse. Case in point, during one recent game she missed due to injury, Fever tickets were selling for just $3, cheaper than a matinee movie. Meanwhile, ESPN ratings dipped, and the WNBA's momentum stalled.
I want to show you two different charts here. One, your stock price since 2021. It is down nearly 60%. Your executives and the people who are making these decisions, their stock options are worthless. Meanwhile, you have the single biggest needle mover in all of American sports since Michael Jordan, and you have somehow convinced yourself that you need to slow play this.
That's the Caitlyn effect quantified. So why is Nike slow walking a signature shoe? The question becomes even more baffling when considering that Wilson has already converted her brand into cultural currency. They didn't need to guess, they acted. And the result was a flawlessly executed product line that sold out immediately. In contrast, Nike's indecision looks less like caution and more like a catastrophic misread of the moment. This isn't about a new sneaker, it's about owning a cultural wave. The same way Jordan's rise created an empire, Caitlyn Clark's trajectory offers a rare, once-in-a-generation opportunity.
People want to buy Caitlyn Clark things, and they especially want to buy Caitlyn Clark Nike things. Why is Nike continuing to wait so long into her WNBA career when you could have put something out last year and it would have sold out? It doesn't make much sense.
But unlike Jordan, Clark's momentum is being met with silence and delay. The problem isn't demand, it's supply. Fans are practically begging to buy Caitlyn Clark gear. They're not waiting for approval from marketing boards or press departments. They're waiting for shelves to be stocked. And the longer Nike stalls, the more it risks missing a billion-dollar payday. Because Clark's value isn't just in the WNBA. It spans demographics, age groups, and continents. Her rise is the kind of sports story that reshapes industries. And right now, Nike is watching it unfold from the sidelines. As Caitlyn Clark continues to draw historic numbers from the bench, another narrative is unfolding on the court, and it's raising even more eyebrows. Angel Reese, a fellow rookie and one of the most publicized players in the league, recently inked a sneaker deal with Reebok. But while her media presence remains strong, her performance tells a very different story. In one stretch of games, Reese made just 19 shots out of 59 attempts from inside 5 feet, an area where dominance is expected from a player with her size and pedigree.
Angel Reese, Park 38, let's get it! Life throws her lemons, she makes bricks. Bang! PSA to anyone watching, she is right-handed. Right-handed, by the way. She missed the rim by 3 feet, man. Bang! I gotta say, this is my favorite summer sitcom. Pecan? Butter pecan? Bang! Here's a stat. She's been blocked 20 times, and she's only made 21 hoops. What? Bang!
She's also been blocked over 20 times this season, an eye-opening stat for a player hailed as a future superstar. Clips of missed layups and awkward footwork have gone viral, not as highlights, but as punchlines. Social media has turned her struggles into memes, with fans joking about everything from her shot selection to her frequent turnovers. One post even quipped that she should be hired in hotel housekeeping because she turns it over so quickly.
Their diabolical stat, she's 19 of 59 from less than 5 feet away. How about that, man? Bang! She should work at housekeeping for hotels because she can turn it over quickly. Lost by 27, scored only 4 points against the Indiana Fever. I mentioned no Caitlyn Clark, no problem, give and go. Like a given no shot of working. Bang!
You prefer car or plane?
Car or plane for what? For how you want to travel!
That's too many steps and you can't do that.
Bang!
But this isn't about mocking a player, it's about contrasting the league's promotional choices. While Reese is being spotlighted as Clark's rival, the numbers and optics tell a different story. Her recent game against the Indiana Fever ended in a brutal 27-point loss, where she scored just 4 points. And this wasn't against a full-powered Fever squad. Clark was injured and didn't play. The takeaway was glaring. Even without its superstar, Indiana dominated, while Reese's play failed to rise to the moment. The branding mismatch has become hard to ignore. While Clark sits, she still trends. While Reese plays, her clips go viral for the wrong reasons. The league's push to frame Reese as an equal counterweight to Clark isn't just failing, it's backfiring. And fans are noticing the disconnect between narrative and reality. What separates Caitlyn Clark from the noise isn't just her shot range or court vision, it's her relentless obsession with the game itself. While others chase headlines, Clark embraces the grind. In a recent interview following her injury, she was asked what she missed most. It wasn't the cameras, the endorsements, or even the spotlight. It was practice, the structure, the daily challenge.
I think at times the hardest part is like just not being able to be involved in practice. Like I love practice. Not people always like
not a ton of people always enjoy like coming to practice every single day, but that's something I like really enjoy. Like I really enjoy coming out here and like competing every single day with my teammates. Like that's probably honestly what I miss most. Obviously I miss the games. That goes for anybody that's ever hurt, but like I love practice. I love getting better.
The moments most players see as a chore, she sees as an opportunity. That mindset isn't manufactured, it's deeply wired. Her love for competing, her willingness to improve, and her joy in team drills all reflect a player built not just for fame, but for longevity. Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, understood this from day one. When training camp opened, she didn't praise Clark's media pull or nil deals. She highlighted her preparation, her hunger, her approach. Every drill, every rep, every film session, Clark treats it like a Game 7. That's what earns trust in a locker room. That's what builds real leadership. While her peers debate identity and optics, Clark returns to the fundamentals. The squeak of sneakers, the rhythm of the ball, the stillness at the free throw line. And in doing so, she's earned not only the respect of legends, but the loyalty of a fan base that stretches far beyond basketball. It's why her collaborations, like the viral Dude Perfect video, don't feel scripted.
We are now a three-pointers distance behind the goal. We'll call it the -3.
Weakness.
This is the bounce back.
Yes, it is. Yes, That's so good.
They feel effortless. No gimmicks, just excellence. Clark isn't chasing viral moments. They follow her because her authenticity is magnetic. Even on the sideline, she commands more attention than those actively playing. That's the Caitlin effect. It's not hype, it's habit. And that habit, that insatiable drive, is what turns great players into cultural icons. In the final analysis, the contrast is undeniable. Wilson took the shot and didn't miss. From concept to execution, they captured not only Caitlin Clark's essence, but the moment itself. They didn't hedge, they didn't hesitate, they acted. And the result wasn't just a product line, it was a blueprint for how modern sports marketing should work. In contrast, Nike, the very brand built on betting big, chose caution. The same company that once threw the full weight of its empire behind a rookie named Jordan is now stalling on a generational talent who's already proven herself across every measurable metric. It's not just about shoes anymore. It's about who seized the moment and who blinked. While Wilson embedded fan noise into basketball panels and scripted affirmations into UV messages, Nike sat on its hands, still reviewing Clark's appeal like it's a marketing quiz instead of a cultural tidal wave. And while Reebok gambled on Angel Reese, the result has been uneven at best. Reese has yet to back up the hype on the hardwood, and her brand is already fighting perception issues as viral flubs dominate social timelines. Meanwhile, Clark is trending from the bench, injured, but still more influential than any active player. The league's refusal to fully lean into her momentum reeks of internal politics. And Nike's delay feels less like a strategy and more like paralysis. What they fail to see is that Clark doesn't diminish others, she elevates the entire ecosystem. From team ticket sales to national viewership, every measurable improves when she's in the picture. But every moment that goes unleveraged is a moment lost. The opportunity wasn't just to sell sneakers, it was to define an era. And right now, Wilson owns it. So the question isn't whether Clark deserves a signature shoe. That answer's already been shouted by fans, legends, analysts, and sold-out arenas. The real question is, can Nike catch up before someone else makes them irrelevant? Comment, fumbling the bag, if the answer seems obvious. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell so this kind of truth doesn't get buried. And stick around because the Caitlin Clark era is only just beginning.